Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Coffee with Jenni and Dre. This is episode 36. We are moving along. Like I said, this is Coffee with Jenni and Dre. I'm Dre. This is my beautiful wife, Jenni. And we are back as we always are.
Another week,
knocking these podcasts down. You know, I like the way you've been, you have changed on these pods. You've become more comfortable.
What?
You're more open and stuff.
What?
No, real talk. I think that you're doing a good job of opening up and being vulnerable and all those good things like that for listeners and people to see from a woman's point of view, your side of things. I'm pretty much open all the time. So this shit is really...
You're an open book.
This is just a flow for me. But I do like that, I feel like this is like therapy for us.
Yeah.
I feel like when we talk and we talk to each other, even though we're best friends, this is like therapy for me and you.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I think it's easy to get in the everyday hustle and bustle where
for sure.
You're not talking.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
this has been, we say that all the time, this is fun for us because
for sure.
It makes us sit down and talk.
Yeah,
for like
we at least get to sit here and
45
talk
minutes.
with each other about, anything for an hour or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Talk about this coffee since we're still brewing our stuff.
We're still brewing.
Yeah, we're still getting it.
We're still brewing. And we're
It's her, man. It's not me. She's still tweaking shit. And,
we're
you know what I
talking
mean?
to a couple different people and trying to get it right. You don't want to have a bean that isn't good.
Yeah.
So you have to like take your time and get it right. So we're still working on it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a longer process than we were hoping for.
For
but
sure.
It's coming. We're going to have hopefully a blend. So what we've learned.
What is this?
Just a blend. It's a blend. So what we've learned is it's better to go with.
Is there sugar in it?
Yeah. Did I give you the wrong one again?
I don't know.
Oh,
it's fine.
Mine doesn't have much sugar either.
Okay.
Well, we've been out of raw sugar up here. And so I'm trying not to put too much of the other sugar. I'm weird about whatever the white sugar is called. The sugar that we grew up on is now terrible for us. Yeah. So I do the white sugar. I mean, the brown sugar.
The raw sugar.
The raw sugar.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what bean what are we tasting today? This is the one that you're just testing out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you like it?
It's cool. It's cool.
We're trying to find no bitterness, no acidity, chocolatey.
Yeah.
A hint of, you don't mind like a hint of berry of some sort in it, as long as it's not too berry-y. We sound really smart when we go talk to these coffee people.
Yeah, well, we do. We're on point with it a little bit.
Yeah, we know exactly what we want.
So we're still getting everything going. We're still brewing.
Still brewing. I like this one. And it's not sweet.
Yeah, I give it a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. We got to do better than that.
Yeah, it's
That's
like
not going to work for us.
So yeah, man. So let's get into the episode. Like we're gonna be talking about just like, parenting. Because we always talk about parenting, but like just different stages of parenting. I'm also gonna take some little time out. I gotta talk to you about some stuff and things like that,
personal
man.
Personal things.
Personal things? No. It's appreciation things.
Okay, therapy sessions.
So, therapy session stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So segment 1, let's jump into it, man. This is one that's I feel like parents don't talk about it enough, or maybe they do, but I think this is something that you should talk about in the difference of parenting, boys and girls.
Okay.
Like the emotional differences between the two.
Yeah.
We have a 22-year-old son, and then we have twins that are 20. Mm-hmm. Recently, our 20-year-olds, they're grown. You're at the age where they're grown. You had a conversation with one of our twins, I won't say the name, and she lost her virginity. And
we're going to talk about that?
We're going to talk about that because I feel like that's something that people don't talk about, even though it might be uncomfortable for you. And what I want to talk about is she's 20, she's grown. Yeah. This is the first person she's lost her virginity to.
She's going to kill me if she sees this.
We're not saying which one it is, okay. But I think that people should have this type of open dialogue about stuff like this. No matter how uncomfortable it is. I mean, I'm the dad. Goddamn. I mean, so it's uncomfortable for me as well.
Yeah.
But my thing that I wanted to ask you was, when she told you, mm-hmm. you was emotional about it, you cried. Did you feel that you wasn't? Did you feel like? because she's 20, she's grown. Did you feel like you failed or something as a mom or something? Like, why did you cry about it?
It's making me emotional right now. Not failed, but it's to me, that is like the last step of her being like a little girl or a young woman to taking the step into like full blown adulthood, being a woman and embracing everything about it. So, I also know how important this was to her. And so I'm also terrified that she's going to get her heart broken and she's going to pour everything into, this one person. And then I know what can happen. And so I'm concerned about her getting hurt. I don't know. As soon as she told me, it was like waterfalls.
Yeah.
And then she was like, oh my God. And I was like, oh my God. I didn't want to like scare her, but
for sure,
I just felt like all their innocence is gone after that. It feels like to me. So like, it was super emotional for me. Cause to have to, it's hard for me to talk about. I like, I didn't know we were talking about this, babe. I like immediately pictured her when she was like this big in the back of the car and I was singing with them one day. Mm-hmm. And I just like, and then it flashed forward to like now. And so I guess it was just hard. Like it was just, I felt like she's just grown up. It's a good, she's very into this guy. He treats her well. He buys her flowers. He tells her he loves her. She's liked him since early high school. I needed a
you got a Kleenex. I don't
early high school. God, maybe you should have prepared me for this.
If I prepare you, then you won't answer it as raw as you possibly can.
So like, this is something that we all know is coming as parents. Like it's all coming. We've all gone through it and we've all, thank you. We've all gone through it. We know what it is. And, I guess I wasn't prepared in that moment. Yeah. Just because she has been waiting and she's been very
she was adamant about like, I want to wait till I get married,
wait for marriage,
all those things like that.
And so part of me was scared that that she's gonna be mad at herself for not waiting.
Yeah.
But also making her feel safe. Like she was able to tell me, and now I'm able to take the steps as a mom that like, okay, this is what needs to happen next, and make sure she's knows her options and knows how we can prevent things, and she's smart about it. The last thing I want to do is have her being a 20-year-old mom. I don't want that for her. She's not ready for that. So now it's just taking those steps, and she's, she feels good about it. She feels safe. She feels happy, protected. She feels loved. So it is normal, I guess, but man, yeah.
So as a father, because and
I debated telling her she's gonna kill me.
What I'm saying is this: like, as a father, do we want to know when our daughters lose their virginity? No, it's not something they want to know. But I know you were talking to me about it because
I waited. You
waited a while. I mean, you probably didn't tell. I don't know when it happened.
I had two people tell me that I needed to tell you, so I was like, okay.
So when you did tell me, as a father, I think to myself, she's 20 years old. Mm-hmm. We raised great kids. So I didn't, and, she was adamant about waiting until she gets married and all those things like that. And there's nothing wrong with if you do wait, if you decide to wait, as long as you're making, sound decisions. But as a father, even though in the back of all fathers' heads, we never want our daughters to have sex because we just know how it is. It's so crazy. Fathers probably think to their head, even when their grandkids are running around, we're thinking, my kids ain't having sex, and you got 3-4 grandkids running around the house. Of
course,
you just don't want to put
virgins.
You just don't want to put your daughter in that light. Right. So as a man, when you did tell me, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to feel exactly at that moment or when you had told me, but I do understand.
Yeah.
And I just want her to be safe. I know she really does like this dude. Mm-hmm. They're with each other all the time. Seems like a real good fella. So I just know that those steps can lead to other things if they're not. I mean, we've already taught our kids, protection, all the preventatives to healthy sexual relationship and things like that.
What is okay? What is not okay?
What is not okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a little bit different. And like with Gerard, I feel like fathers and sons don't talk about losing virginity. Like I never told my dad. My dad didn't know when I lost my virginity. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like I don't know if that's a thing to talk about with your father. I don't know if like, pops, shit, I lost my virginity. Like I don't know if that's a conversation men have, and I don't know if we should start having those conversations because I feel like it's kind of weird to talk to your father about losing your virginity.
I think that we should change that though. I don't think that it should be weird. I don't think, and this goes for like multiple things, like maturing, going through puberty. Like I didn't really talk about that. My mom definitely in her generation, they didn't talk about it. Like it's through generations has gotten to where we do discuss more with our kids, but like, talking about what happens to your body and the changes that you go through is weird and kind of awkward with your kids. It doesn't have to, I guess awkward isn't the right sense, but knowing what to say and what not to say, knowing what is too much and is not too much. But, and knowing that they feel safe to come to us is the most important part. Yeah. So like once your daughter starts her cycle, like knowing that they can come to me and not be scared or embarrassed, like that's the most important for me. Then the next step is, yes, like I think it is important that you talk about it with your sons because then, the less likelihood, hopefully, that they're out there now and is a baby daddy to somebody because they took the steps to make sure they were protected because it doesn't always have to fall on the girl. This is what a lot of this, like, feminist and women's rights and why is it that the woman is always the one that has to go on birth control and the guy never has? But I think some of that never does. Some of that needs to, be talked about. Like men, my son, like I've sat down with our son and I've said, please do this. And he's like, I know. You know what I mean?
But you don't have to, that's not even your job. I got that all under control.
I know, but I've done it because I don't want to see him at 22 with a kid. I don't, because not to say that you can't be a good parent at 22, but I know our kids and I know none of them are ready to be a parent.
For sure.
And so if I can protect them in some way and give them some type of advice to not do it. Yeah. And I think when you are open with your son, when it very first starts happening, if say they're 16, they don't know. Yeah. They're not thinking about her getting pregnant. That's not what they're thinking about. Yeah. They're not thinking about STDs. They're not thinking about it.
For sure.
So all of this has to be talked about and not just at school when they make you watch a video. I don't know what all they do these days.
And with sons, and fathers, I mean, we already know when our sons go through puberty. They get a growth spurt, them balls drop, their voice get deeper. Like we already know. It's not even like I don't gotta be like, oh, you got some hair on you. Like it ain't even gotta have that conversation. Voice get deeper, balls drop, they get a spike in height. We already know what time it is. Yeah. Little attitude gets a little bit of, a little bit more, testosterone put him in his chest. So we already know what time it is. As far as like talking to him about, losing virginity, fathers, I don't think no fathers talk to their sons about that. I think that they talk to their sons about sex and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay, all those things, but we don't talk about their first time. Yeah. Like your first time you had sex with a woman, like, because I think that if it's, I don't know if it would be a comfortable talk or uncomfortable, but just having that conversation. But then when we do find out our sons, because I feel like as a father, I know when my boys are having sex. I already know.
I feel like it shouldn't be I feel like
no fathers talk about it. You feel that way, but it doesn't happen in most households where sons are coming to their dad saying, Dad, I lost my virginity.
No, I know. But what I find interesting is multiple men that you talk to, and you might know more than me. I feel like y'all don't, I don't know how often men talk about this, but I've heard several men tell me, or in a group setting where we're talking or whatever, that they lost their virginity to a much older female. Okay. A lot of the times. Yeah. And that is what, like, after like the third or fourth guy that I heard that from, I'm like, that is crazy to me. That they're like sometimes 15, 16 years old and the girl is like 18, 19, maybe older. And I'm like, that's why I think you should talk to your sons, because I feel like they're getting a little bit taken advantage of. And everyone wants to talk about how girls get taken advantage of. What about all these guys? Like, that is not...
I don't think boys are looking at it as getting taken advantage of.
No.
I don't think so.
But some of them were like, I was scared. I didn't know what to do. So I just laid, you know, I was like, oh, okay. But they're still scared in that moment a little bit.
For sure. But in the grand scheme of it, we're not talking about the older stuff going on. We're just talking about in the grand, you got all off on some old other stuff. But the grand scheme of fathers talking to their sons about losing their virginity and how it's like some unspoken, you know, rules that I mean, unspoken things that I don't think fathers do talk about that way. I probably
think you should. That's what I'm saying.
I probably, out of all my friends, I would probably think 100% didn't tell their father when they lost their virginity. But I think fathers know, because we know how we are as young boys growing up and how things change and how, you know, if they do got a girlfriend, how that stuff starting to, you know, unfold and things like that. And then after that, once I found out, or once I sensed Gerard was having sex, the next thing is, hey, listen, make sure you're wearing a condom. Make sure that you haven't, you know, I'm taking the procedures to have safe and protected sex. Make sure that, you know, I ain't trying to be no granddad. You know, just letting them know and talking to them about those things is what those steps are, because most fathers know when their sons start having sex. And it doesn't have to be, oh, he just tell me about when you lost your virginity, because I really don't want to hear about that.
No. I think the whole point behind having these conversations is making sure they're not young parents, preventing that and preventing any type of STD. I mean, that's the goal. That's what you want, you know, because from the beginning of time, it's going to happen. Yeah. It is what it is. It's going to happen. And so you have to be ready for it. And the best way to be ready is to educate your kids.
For sure.
You got to educate them on what can happen, what will happen, what, you know, I've heard, you know, couple, even our kids are like, I don't want to go on BC because I'm going to gain weight. And so I'm like, what do you think happens when you get pregnant?
For sure.
You know how much weight we're going to gain?
Yeah. Did you did you tell your mom when you lost your virginity?
I don't think I ever had that conversation with my mom. But also my mom was like super awkward about this type of thing. Like when I started my cycle, I was young. I was very young. I had no idea what it was. I had no idea. I didn't go to her. She figured it out, thank goodness, and like literally came up to the school and was like, what is happening? Why didn't you tell me? And I was like, I didn't know what it was. I was scared. Like I literally didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
So she's not the one that like talks about things. Like if I were to have come to her and talked about it, she would have been super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So you live and you learn. So like, I don't want to be that uncomfortable if my kids ever need to come to me and talk to me about
obviously
something.
Obviously they didn't. They did. So
yeah. And they both the twins feel very comfortable talking to me about things where I'm like, la, 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 la. Yeah. Too much. I don't want to know that much. But I'm thankful that they feel like it's a safe space.
For sure.
To discuss it. Because I don't want them talking about it with their friends that also aren't educated and they're all giving each other terrible advice.
Yeah.
Because even, I thought this was really cool. I don't know if you know this part, but I had two of our girls. We were having a conversation about this. And then a best friend was on the phone. And she was like, oh my gosh, you make me feel like I need to go do this and I need to do that. And I didn't know this. So like just having that conversation with our girls, I help somebody else out because she didn't know about XYZ or she hadn't been told. And so now she's scheduling a doctor's appointment to make sure everything's good. You know what I mean? And I'm
For sure.
Yeah, y'all need to like have these conversations. Like it's, you know, if y'all are going to do grown people stuff, let's have this grown people conversation. That's kind of how I went about it.
Okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad that
but it was emotional.
I'm glad that she was able to talk to you about it. I'm glad that you was able to. What advice did you give? Did you just told her about just being safe and all those type of things? I don't want to hear all the details and the bullshit, but yeah.
My biggest thing was seeing a doctor, making sure we're healthy.
Yeah.
Making sure we're not getting anything.
Yeah.
We don't want.
For sure.
Including protections from all the things.
For sure.
Because that's most important.
You think she received it?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. They both have their doctor's appointments. They're both. Yeah.
Wife gets everything on schedule.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I didn't want to stay too long on that. I know you got emotional about it, but I think it's something that that's, not talked about enough or not shared enough on platforms. Just understanding of when your kids lose their virginity, fathers being able to talk to their sons about, about losing their virginity, because I know no son talks to their dad about that type of stuff. You know what I mean?
But also what I've had to tell them, and with you, I think it's interesting how much they want to tell you. And I know that they didn't come to you for that specifically, but they tell you a lot of things.
They do.
And you're like, I don't want to know. Yeah. But part of that is
my girls tell me, like my daughters share with me literally too much, like shit that I don't even want to hear about. They just want to share with me, which is cool because they trust me. Exactly. And they want to communicate with me, and they want me to be a part of those things. But some of that shit I just don't want.
So I've had to tell them. I was like, look, it's really cool that y'all feel safe to go talk to dad about these things. Like, that's really awesome. I never had a dad that I could go tell anything to. So like, I look at it as a compliment that you have two girls that want to come to you. And that's why sometimes you've said, like, once the girls get older, they won't want to, they won't want to talk to me this much. And I'm like, why do you say that? Like, a lot of times girls would rather go to their dads to talk to them if you've created that safe environment for their entire life. Then why wouldn't they? I mean, of course they could. But I have told them, I was like, especially like Jade, because, she's still like getting the feel of the house and all the things. And I'm like, look, some stuff dad doesn't want to hear. like you can go to him all you want, but like, he's not going to give you the answer that you want. He's going to be like, get out of here with that bullshit, basically, because he's not. So like, it's not that he's like, he loves you and wants to hear it, but at the same time, he's not going to like, he doesn't want to hear it. Facts. Like, he doesn't want to hear all that.
Yeah, this is true.
I said, so you have me. So when these situations come to me, if I feel like dad needs to know, then I'll let you know. But come to me.
For sure. So, man, I think, like I said, parents should have these conversations. I think that you handled it super well, as you always do. And that leads me into segment 2. This is really about.
My nose is. Why
this
is
is really segment 2 is really just about me thanking you and showing your appreciation and all that. And I think that all fellas, if you have a wife, you have a girlfriend, some things that y'all should probably do that we never understand and we never fully grasp until you like really sit down and think about it. We call these like the invisible labors of the wife that like we don't see, but like they're doing it constantly in their brain. So I just want to thank you, because what I mean by invisible labor is like this woman makes all the dentist appointments when the kids got to go to the dentist. She knows exactly when those appointments are, when they're scheduled. She takes care of all that. She knows when they go to practice, when they get out of practice. She knows what time they need to be dropped off. She knows like if it's another kid's birthday party, she knows all that type of stuff. I mean, she knows all the things that are like invisible things that are going on in her head that she's keeping a checklist of that us as men, we never see. So I just want to thank you for always keeping that checklist. I mean, my wife is so dope that she even keeps track of my shit that I have to, like if I got an appointment, she keeps track of it. If I need to fill out some paperwork, because, just as men alone, like if I was to go to the doctor, she has to be on, and I can take care of myself, but she's just an extra set of ears. So she'll be on the speakerphone because the doctor might be like, hey, you need to take 2 pills, one in the daytime, one in the evening, As men, we like, fuck it. We don't even, I'll miss all the pills. And next thing you know, it'll be one by my damn bedside that, before I go to bed, it'll be one in the morning on the dresser. So it's those invisible labors that you might do it as a man, but most of the time as women are keeping track of all that. So it's that invisible labors that you do that I appreciate you. And I thank you for always doing those things. And, I think sometimes I need to give more grace because it'd be times where, like, for example, like the other week, I'm like, yo, I got within the same few minutes or maybe an hour. I'm like, yeah, I got a event today at this time. I got this, that, and the other. And she hears it, boom, boom. I even texted her, she even hears it. Then when I get home, I'm getting ready for the event. She's like, where you going? I was like, what the fuck? I just said this, that. And I already told you. But you got to understand, she has so much shit, invisible labor going on in her brain that sometimes you got to show grace because she's, you know what I'm saying? She's processing all the kid stuff, the grocery list, this list, and then you telling her all about your work stuff, and it makes it to where, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I've heard a lot of moms say to their husbands, they say, if I was not looking at you, like when you tell me where you're going, I heard you, but there was too much going on. So like, yeah, I mean, the other day we hung up and you said you were going to get your car cleaned.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, wonder what he's doing or something. And you had just told me, but like in that moment I was probably, thinking this and that. And so, yeah, I heard you, but I didn't process it.
For sure.
Yeah.
So
and
that's
I was like,
just
you did just tell me that.
Segment 2 is just me thanking you, man, for all the invisible labor that you do. I appreciate it.
I am receiving all of that.
The kids appreciate it. We all appreciate it.
Funny note on your doctor stuff, though, because you brought it up. The reason I need to either A, be there or be on speakerphone is because the few times I've let you go by yourself, this is men. Okay, what did they say about this? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I don't know.
Because it wasn't that,
you don't know.
It wasn't that important, obviously, for me to remember.
Did you ask?
He didn't say I was dying.
No,
so
did
I'm
you
good.
ask like this? No, I don't think. What am I going to ask that for? And I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like, so absolutely not. You cannot
the
go.
The doctor didn't say I was dying. So I don't really know. All the other bullshit he said, I just
absolutely
was
not. Yeah.
whatever.
So there is no trusting you when it comes to doctor's appointments. And also, I don't let you go to the doctor's appointments with me with the kids anymore because he gets mad if I ask any questions. And all of these questions need to be asked. I need to know
some of these questions you be asking be
they need
crazy
to be
shit.
No, I never.
That you should like I feel like we'll figure it out.
No way. All of these, I don't ask irrelevant, silly questions. They all are, very important to the reason we're at the doctor. And you're always like, why are you asking all these questions? I'm like, you don't need to come to the doctor.
I don't.
You don't need to come.
Just fill me in.
You don't need to go.
Fill me in.
Yeah.
So I thank you, Ms. Jones. The kids thank you. The fans thank you.
Don't you take me to dinner tonight or something?
No, I got to work.
Yeah.
I got to work. I got an event tonight. So yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Segment 3 is really just the last segment of the day. Since we had you get too emotional and stuff. So this is just about
mess my makeup up.
Creating a balance in the marriage. Go ahead.
So, because we were just talking about that, and maybe even creating balance as it'll go, but I wanted to bring it up. I saw a thing on Instagram where a husband was saying they have something called 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Did you see this?
I didn't.
So they have this thing called 10 minutes, and it's anytime the husband or wife goes to the other and says, hey, I need 10 minutes, they get a full 10 minutes of undivided, uninterrupted conversation. Yeah. And so generally he's like, man, so if I ever come to you and I was like, hey, I need that 10 minutes, you have to stop what you're doing and you have to give her or him that 10 minutes,
10
right? 10
minutes is a long time.
10 minutes, doesn't matter. And you don't get to interrupt what they're saying. So they get to get out anything that's like bothering them and you just have to like sit and listen.
Yeah.
So he said this day she came to him and was like, I need my 10 minutes. And he was like, oh, what did I do? Like shit. So he goes in there and she took that full 10 minutes of just appreciation. Yeah. Like, I've noticed this, like you're doing this, you're doing that. And he was like, and I was just like, she's never done that before. Like, and so he just was like, that was
a good 10 minutes,
a great 10 minutes where he thought he was in trouble because that's generally what that 10 minutes is for.
Yeah.
And instead it was the total opposite. So I think like what you just did again is something that people don't do enough. We're so busy, saying what we didn't do, didn't do this and you didn't do that. And why didn't, instead of saying like, damn, you just did all of this. You just did all of this and you just provided all of this.
Yeah.
Or get that 10 minutes in where you need to, get some stuff off your chest.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
But I thought that was a really cool idea.
And that does play into like, creating a balance in the marriage, when you're dealing with all the invisible labors that you have to deal with and you're dealing with kids and you're dealing with trying to make your husband happy and just, both providing and pleasing each other and all those type of things. Like, how do you create that balance and able to, stay motivated?
Sane?
Yeah, stay sane, stay motivated, stay happy, stay in love,
I think every mom or wife will have like their different ways of doing it. I am not organized. And so being organized is a really good way. So I do have my calendar, but I've tried to do paper calendars because I constantly every day have a fear of, oh my God, what if I forgot? What if I forgot a kid? Like, what if I, lose track of time and I'm not at the school in time? So like every day I do that every day. What time is it? Oh my gosh, what if, so, staying organized, staying on top of it, like preparing, whatever you're going to cook for dinner or the groceries or like whatever, having a list, knowing what you're going to do. And then that way, things fall in line. But I think my family in particular, I feel like everyone, I love us so much. Like y'all aren't hard on me. Like y'all make it easy for me. Even our girls, like they're responsible. They're good kids. Like they make it easy on me to be a mom. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot, and I don't think I can explain exactly how you do it as a mom.
For sure.
You just do it. It's like when you're a brand new mom, everyone's like, what if you don't even have to think about it. Like you just do it. And it's just what it is.
One thing I think we've been doing a lot lately, that I don't like is that we've been talking about work way too much. Like you've been talking to me about, your work shit, and I get it. We own businesses.
It's when it goes bad.
And you just talk about your work shit nonstop. I've got it to where I talk about but this has been happening, not just months and months, but like the last couple of weeks, like you've been nonstop talking about work, nonstop.
Really?
And and I do it. I get on those times too as well, but it comes with the territory of like owning your own business. And granted, right, I might get off the phone with Carlos and talk to you about the same shit I was just talking to Carlos about. You get off the phone with Jess, you just talk to me about the same shit, you know what I'm saying, you was talking to Jess about, and that's just
But I've also had like a stressful 2 weeks of work.
For sure.
It's how work goes when you own it's like everything is smooth sailing.
Yeah.
Good for a couple months, and then all of a sudden everyone forgets how to do their job.
Yeah.
And
you feel like a week of bad shit, your whole shit is crashing down, but it's really nothing like that.
You feel like your company is falling apart.
Yeah.
And then you have to spend extra time retraining, redoing, making sure, sucking ass to whoever to make things right. And, your employees make or break your business. It is what it is. So when they're messing up and it's a reflection of you, it's stressful.
Yeah.
So, and I can vent to you about it,
For sure.
And you can vent to me about it. But yeah, I mean, sometimes too much is too much.
For sure. And so like with our businesses, it's kind of harder to like, when people say when we get home, shut the business off. Yeah, our business is not ran like a 9 to 5. So if for example, if I was, let's say I owned a bakery and the bakery closes at 5. After that, I can come home, I can kind of shut it off. But I own a valet company. Restaurants don't close till 11, sometimes 12 in the morning. And 11 p.m., 12 a.m. type of deal. So I'm literally like on, I can be where a wreck can happen at 11 at night. I got to talk to Jenni about it, things like that. So it's not where I can, when I'm at home, it's complete shut off mode because my stuff goes through morning shifts and all the way at night shifts. Yeah. So it's a hard time to like, I really can't just cut it off like boom like that because my stuff is rolling all day, all night.
It is.
Yeah. So I think we need to do a better job of not talking about work so much amongst each other. Yeah. And when we do, let's just keep it short, brief, get it out the way. You have something to say about it. Boom, boom, boom. Let's talk about it.
Can I say what I don't like?
What you don't like, babe?
When we get in bed, you get on your computer and do more work. I feel like once we're in bed at that time, all computer stuff needs to, and randomly, it is what it is. But like once we're in bed, like I don't feel like that's the time that now we're opening up a computer and doing more work because
sometimes
half the time
I forget what I needed to do, and then when I get in bed after I shower, I'm like, oh shit, let me hurry and do. I forgot to do that. Let me go ahead and do that.
Yeah, but sometimes it's like 10:30, 11 at night, and we're opening up a computer, like because at the end of the day, sleep is like super important for our health.
If you put them cheeks in my face, I'll go. I mean, what do you want me to do? The computer put them cheeks in my face.
We'll see.
Sit them cheeks on the computer.
That'll be cold.
I'm just saying, like, if you want it to stop, I mean, but it's not all the time, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And so, you gotta, like I said, this was about balance. You really do have to try to balance those things out of, constantly talking about work or constantly talking about, the kids or, oh, the kids got this, oh, gymnastics, oh, basketball, because they're in gymnastics, basketball, volleyball. I mean, then they go to training on these type of days.
Church now. They like Blake
goes to her church thing on Wednesday. So it's a lot of, moving parts, especially when when on Wednesday is the only difficult day because one goes to gymnastics and that's in this little town.
Yeah.
And then one goes to her church camp thing and that's in this little town. One gets out at 7, one gets out at 7:15. So if I have to work, you have to go here to pick up early, boom, shoot, cross pick up with the baby. And but it's better when I don't have to work because I get one, you get one, I drop off one, you drop off one. So it makes it easier like that. And those are the perks of owning your own business because just imagine if you don't, you got to,
I don't know
it's always falls on one person all the time.
I think about that all the time. People that work and they have to be at work 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 or whatever it may be. And I'm like, how do y'all do this? But again, Instagram has someone saying something every time. She's like, as a mom, how do we work full time, but you have to get your kids to daycare by this time. You have to get to work by this time. Then you have to pick your kids up by this time, but you're not even off of work till this time. Then you have to get them to all their extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
Then I got to get home and get dinner done. Then we got 3 girls. We got to make sure they're bathed, make sure, they got hair in places. You got to make sure their hair is done. You got to make sure they're lotion. You got to make sure they're ready for bed. And that, you know what I mean? And then you get up and you do it all over again. And you're like, how the hell did we just do that? Yeah. Like, there is not enough time in the day to get all of this done. So I am so thankful. That's what I told you the other day when I walked. I was just thinking about how grateful I am because I am so thankful that I don't have to show up to work every day and be there till a certain time.
For sure. But all you moms that are doing that, man, y'all are kicking ass. Y'all rocking out.
Real.
We appreciate y'all. We're going to close out, man. This is Coffee with Jenni and Dre.
Oh, damn, you just gonna shut it off, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we've already got to them. Like I said, this is Coffee with Jenni and Dre. I appreciate you. Like I said, man, I also appreciate you opening up about your emotions and how you felt with one of our kids.
Yeah.
Man, we're constantly growing. We're constantly changing and we're constantly becoming better parents. I appreciate sharing this space with you because this allows us to get a little bit of therapy session in ourselves because I'm not going to a real therapist. So this right here is my therapy. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, all the podcast broadcasting places. We're there. We're definitely still brewing up this coffee. We're trying to figure out something for you folks, man, to make it just right. If it's nasty, blame her. But yeah, man, this is Coffee with Jenni and Dre. This is episode 36.
Thank you, guys.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Peace.
All right, bye.